2 years ago, after being stuck in a career that I wasn't enjoying anymore for 5 years, I decided to make a career change into tech. I'm recording this video because throughout the whole of last night, I couldn't sleep. I kept on twisting and turning on the bed. Something was on my mind, and I asked myself why that is the case, and I realized that it's because I'm in a place in life where I feel a little bit stagnant, a little bit stuck, especially career-wise. I was working in an industry that was dying with limited opportunities for growth and development, and I wanted to join an industry that was booming with opportunities to grow and to develop. After lots of research, I discovered that a career in tech would help me to achieve this, and because I'm a family man with lots of responsibilities and already working a difficult full-time shift work, I had to be realistic about the time frame I wanted to complete this change by. So that will make it 7 years in total working at this company doing the same role. And this was tough for me, but I had to think about the long term. And fast forward almost exactly 2 years, I landed a job as a data analyst with absolutely zero experience. And the job I did prior to this was the complete opposite.
This time around, it's a different person, and she basically told me that, congratulations, Alex, you've been offered the position of the data analyst. And guys, oh my God, I was just in the middle of the street, almost got hit by a car. I was just punching my fist like this, yeah?
And I could have definitely done it a little bit quicker than the 2 years it took me looking back in hindsight. I could have probably done it in maybe about a year, but I made some mistakes along the way, and also life got in the way a little bit as well, which slowed down my progress. So the purpose of this video is to help you so that you can avoid the mistakes that I made and fast track your journey to data analytics or even any tech job for that matter. Now, before we delve into the real nitty-gritty stuff, there are a few things that you need to do that's equally as important. The reason why a lot of people start but don't make it to the finish line is because they don't do the first two things on the list that I'm about to mention today. I can 100% guarantee you that during the data analytics journey, you reach a point where you feel like giving up. You feel like you're working really hard, but you're not really seeing any results. You might experience stress, depression, and anxiety. You might feel like your family and friends are holding you back. You will experience a roller coaster of emotions. Today you're happy, tomorrow you're sad, then the next day you're anxious, and so many different emotions. But I've really given a good go. I wake up at 4 in the morning sometimes 5 a.m. in the morning to try and really learn these things, and I'm just not getting it. It's so incredibly difficult, and I probably underestimated how difficult family life will play a role in it as well. Maybe I was just dreaming, you know what I mean? But I feel like maybe it's time to maybe just forget about it, forget about this dream, because that's what it was, and focus on something else, but now I just feel lost, I feel confused. And the thing is, all of this is absolutely normal, but when you reach this point, you need to do something to push you through. So before you set off on your journey, it's very important that you ask yourself why. Why do you want to become a data analyst? And this can't be any weak reason why, oh, you want to earn a lot of money, etc. Even if the most important thing to you is money, what's the deeper reason why you really want to make this amount of money? It has to be a very strong reason why you need that money. You see, the feeling of giving up is absolutely normal, but these are the moments where you need to revisit your why and remind yourself why you're really doing this in the first place. And don't just think about this why in your head. Make sure you write it down, ideally in a journal. I prefer the old school pen and paper because it just feels more personal and it hits the soul differently, in my opinion. For me, a few reasons why I'm doing this is because of my family. I want a better situation for my family. I want to do a job that also makes my family and myself proud. I want a better work-life balance and flexibility. Working a regular shift pattern was draining me both physically and mentally to the point where I was very concerned about my health. At this stage, you also want to set clear goals and define what success looks like for you. You want to have some milestones, like maybe building a certain number of projects, achieving a certification, landing a job, and so on. Okay, so now we know why we're doing this in the first place. Now the next thing we need to do is equally as important. And doing this really helped me on my journey, especially when I was putting in a lot of effort and I wasn't seeing any results, and when I reached a dead end at one point. When you watch videos on YouTube about how someone broke into tech, or in our case became a data analyst with no experience, the title is always something like, oh, how I became a data analyst in only 4 months, or how I became a software engineer in less than 6 months, etc. I mean, this is nice to see, but for most people, it's just not a realistic time frame. Sadly, we're in the age where everyone wants everything instantly, then and now. No one likes to wait for anything anymore. But the fact of the matter is that everyone's situation is different. As a family man in my 30s with 2 kids now, with a mortgage, working full-time, I can't compare my journey to some 20-year-old that's still living with their parents with all the time in the world. I had to be realistic about how much time I can really dedicate towards this career change. Before you start your journey, you need to set yourself a realistic time frame that you want to be a data analyst by. For me, I looked at my circumstances and I decided that even though I'll prefer this change a lot quicker, like maybe 6 months, 2 years was a more realistic time frame. And guess how long it took me to land my first data analyst job? Exactly 2 years. But what that time frame did for me was whenever I felt like nothing was happening for me, I remind myself that, you know what, I'm still on schedule and there's no need to panic. And it also made me appreciate my milestones more. Like a few months ago, I didn't know anything about coding. I thought coding was for hackers, but I managed to learn Python. I built my own programs. I learned Excel from zero. SQL, Power BI, and lots of other programs. You also need to break your learning into small manageable milestones. For example, I need to learn Excel in 1 month. So month 1, you learn Excel. Power BI in 2 months. So months 2 to 3, you learn Power BI and so on. And then how many hours can you realistically dedicate towards learning each week and each day? So in summary, how long will it take you to go from beginner to be job ready, break your learning into manageable milestones, and also how many hours a week can you commit to this goal? Do you need to be good at maths before you become a data analyst? The simple answer is no, because I'm average at best at maths and still landed the job. And in my opinion, that's what the computer is there for in the first place. But I do believe that if you're good at maths, it does open more doors to you. For example, there are some jobs that require you to do online maths assessment before you can progress to the next stage. So if you're good at maths, then of course it will give you that advantage. Also, despite the fact that you don't need to be great at maths, it's important that you at least understand some fundamental key concepts like your mean, mode, median, standard deviation, and so on. Learn those if you don't know this already. This shouldn't take you too long to do. So now we've got the fundamentals down, it's time to get into the nitty-gritty part of the process. This is where you need to cultivate your technical skills. But what technical skills do you actually need? This has created a lot of debate on whether you need to actually learn all these programming languages like Python, R, SQL, and so on. Well, I'm here to tell you this. You can actually land a data analyst job by just learning Excel alone. Fact. And I can prove this to you now. Because in some companies, Excel is all you really need to do the job. But, there's a big but. In such a competitive market, in order to increase your chances of landing a good job, it's important that you learn more tools. But you don't need to learn them all, you just need to learn a few and just stick to them. I'm sure you heard that saying, jack of all trade, master of none. It's difficult to learn everything, so just learn a few and master it. And another problem is that every company requires different things, so it's difficult to please everyone. Although I learned some Python, I focused on jobs that only required me to know Excel, SQL, and then one visualization tool, and I opted for Power BI. That's it. I didn't build any projects in Python, and there's lots of job opportunities with just them three alone. So to simplify it, I recommend learning Excel, SQL, and pick one visualization tool, either Power BI or Tableau. And you don't have to, you absolutely don't have to, but it would be good to know the basics of Python. The great thing about all of this is that you don't have to spend a single dime to learn all of this. You can acquire all these skills for free, and I'll provide you with a list of free resources to learn all these technical skills later in the video. If you have no direct experience or you're transitioning from a completely different industry to data analytics, then contrary to a lot of people's advice on YouTube, I recommend getting some sort of certification. I believe it helps a lot. Not only does it give you some credibility, but it also shows your potential employers that you enjoy learning and you take charge of your own learning and development. This is very important because in the tech industry, you need to be always learning and keeping up with industry trends. A good course you can take is Google's Data Analytics course on Coursera. They have one where you can learn about the fundamentals of data analytics, and there's also an advanced one as well. It's not free, this one is about £30 or 30 something dollars if you're in the US, and it says it takes about 6 months to complete the course, but depending on how much time you have and you know what you already know, you can complete this course a lot quicker and save yourself some money. I did mine in 3 months while working full-time and being a family man. One of the great benefits of getting a job in the tech industry is that there's so many free materials and resources available to you to acquire all the knowledge and skills that you need to land a job. And you can acquire so many technical skills for free, which will in the long run make you more valuable to employers, which will also have a positive impact on your salary. If you're someone that enjoys learning like myself, this would be a great career for you. I barely spent any money to land my first job in tech, and now that I've landed my first job as a data analyst, I'm going to continue learning and acquire more skills and really beef up my CV. Some of the free resources that have helped me on my journey are Free Code Camp, where you can learn to code and gain certifications completely free. They also have a YouTube channel with tons of free materials that you can follow along, and they also have a meetup group which you can join and meet like-minded people that are also trying to break into tech. I joined this meetup group and I learned a lot from others, and it played a pivotal role in my journey. And it's also nice to know that you're not alone. Then there's also W3 schools where you can learn so many coding languages for free, and they also have a coding editor for you to practice your code, and it really helps. And the good thing about all these resources that I've mentioned so far is that they're all mobile friendly, so you don't have to carry your laptop with you all the time to be able to learn. You can just learn them on your phone on the go. And there's also good old YouTube. YouTube also has tons of channels that teach you how to code for free. YouTube also played a key role on my journey, especially times where I felt stuck and there was nowhere for me to turn. YouTube always came through for me. There's also Mimo. Mimo is a free app that teaches you how to code on the go. Again, this was very helpful for me. Usually after learning something, I use this app when I was on the go, or when I had a free period at work, I'll practice so that I don't lose what I've learned. Also, if you're in the UK, the government offers a free bootcamp called Skills for Life to teach you how to code for absolutely free. You also get a certification at the end of the bootcamp as well. And if you want to know more about this bootcamp, let me know in the comment section and I'll do a full video on that. These are some of the free resources that helped me on my personal journey, and I know there's lots more out there. If you don't mind spending a little bit of money, then there's courses like the Google Data Analytics Professional Certificate that you can take, where you can get a certificate at the end, and that will give you some credibility. It only costs about $30 something a month. And there are some cheap courses on websites like Udemy as well for about £10 to £15, one-off payment as well. And when you buy courses on Udemy, always wait for when they're doing sales, otherwise you'll be paying about £60 plus. Alright, now we've acquired the technical skills that we need, and I'm sure you've heard of that saying, if you don't use it, you will lose it. The next step is very important. This is how you prove to employers that you're capable of doing the job. At this stage, you need to use the technical skills that you've acquired to build some projects to showcase in your portfolio. I recommend doing at least one project in Excel, one in SQL, and another one in maybe Power BI or Tableau to show your employers your adaptability, that you're comfortable using any tool. But where can you get free data to analyze? There are lots of platforms that allow you to download free real-world data that you can analyze and draw insights from. My go-to website that I always get my data sets from is Kaggle. However, there are lots of other websites such as data.gov, UCI repository, and if I think of any more, I'll include it in the video or in the description, so look out for that. Another great way to get practical experience is through internships and volunteer work. This is really good because it gives you that hands-on experience and work experience that you can actually put on your CV and make it stronger. After building projects to demonstrate your skills and abilities, it's time to showcase your work by building a portfolio. Now, this step again is very, very important because the quality of your portfolio of projects is what will let recruiters know whether you have the skills to be able to do the job or not. And what you have to remember here is that a lot of recruiters actually don't know much about the technical side of the role. So when they're hiring, they rely a lot on visuals. So you want to make the portfolio as visually appealing as possible and make it easy for the recruiter to access and understand what is going on. A great place that most people are familiar with in the tech world where you can store your projects is GitHub. If you're going to work in the tech world, you need to know about GitHub. If you don't know GitHub, then that's your homework for today. Go and watch some YouTube videos on GitHub. However, if you're new to GitHub, it can be a bit tricky to navigate through it. So to make the experience as seamless as possible for the recruiter, I use a website called datascienceportfolio.io. This website helps you to create a portfolio that's visually appealing, and you can include links that will take you directly to your project so that the recruiter does not get lost or confused. Again, if you want me to make a full video about this website, let me know in the comment section below and I'll do just that. To increase your chances of landing a job quickly, I've always said in my previous videos that you've got to do something different outside the box. What I've seen work for others as well is that they created blogs talking about their projects and learning processes on websites such as medium.com, and there are quite a few people that have actually been discovered by recruiters this way. Now, what I really love about this tech industry is that it's such a beautiful community where everyone is always trying to help each other. It actually feels like a family. People spend countless hours of their own time to create free tools to help others in the community, and it's just a beautiful thing. So if you want to become a data analyst or break into tech, you've got to take advantage of this amazing community. And I'm sure you heard of that saying, your network is your net worth. So the next thing you want to do, in fact, you should be doing this as early as possible, is to start connecting with people on LinkedIn. Nowadays, LinkedIn is everything. Every employer wants to see your LinkedIn so that they can get a good idea of who you are and what you bring to their organization. So start connecting with other data professionals on LinkedIn, join relevant groups on there. And if you do this well, trust me, you probably never need to do a lengthy job application ever again. I know and I've heard of people that always land good jobs through referrals and their connections only. But I'll be honest, I didn't really do this enough. That's one area where I want to improve, especially now that I have some experience. Also, join meetup groups and attend meetup events. One of the best websites for this is meetup.com, and they also have an app as well. On there, you can find and attend local and online data events. I attended a few meetup events and it was very helpful, especially at the beginning of my journey. Also, participate in forums around data on websites such as Reddit, Stack Overflow, and Slack communities. I personally don't have Twitter or X or whatever they call it nowadays. I'm not really a fan, but I've heard some good stuff about people that were able to actually land their first tech jobs via connections that they build on Twitter. Again, I will reiterate the importance of networking because trying to break into tech with no experience is incredibly difficult. You have to do something different from the rest to get your first opportunity. You can't just rely on making regular job applications because a lot of times the competition is really fierce. Alright, now when it comes to learning data analytics, a lot of people make the mistake of only focusing on the technical side of things like learning formulas and how to code to analyze and create visuals, which is of course important, but they completely leave out another skill which is equally or even more important in some cases. And in fact, for my current job now, this is probably more important than the technical skills. When you're learning data analytics, you need to be able to communicate your technical findings to non-technical stakeholders so that they can make informed decisions. This is a sign of a good data analyst. When I was being assessed for my current role, the majority of the assessment was on my communication and problem-solving skills. They gave me some reports and had to come up with some findings, observations, and solutions, and I had to communicate it to the hiring managers. I had to do this twice, one on Teams and one face-to-face. So this highlights the importance of working on your soft skills. So when you're learning, also dedicate some time to practice communicating your findings to non-technical people, maybe your parents, siblings, partners, or your friends to see how you get on and how you can improve. The next thing you want to do is to start preparing for job applications and interviews. And how do you do that? You want to start updating your CV and including all the new skills that you are acquiring in the process. And don't wait till you've completed learning everything before you update them on your CV. Update your CV as you go along. So for example, when I'm taking a particular course, I'll put that course on my CV straight away as soon as I start taking it and say that I'm taking this course. And then when I finish, I will update my CV again and say that I've completed the course. And also I started applying for jobs straight away as I was learning. This is good because even though I wasn't really landing anything, I kept on improving the more applications I made. And after several applications and tweaking my CV several times, I got better and better over time with every application that I made. Creating a CV can be very time consuming, so I just use ChatGPT to help me so that I can focus on the more important things. Same with my cover letter as well. ChatGPT helped me a lot. Because imagine creating a separate tailored cover letter for every company that I apply to. That would take me forever. And the worst part that still hurts and annoys me is that, half of these recruiters are not even gonna respect you enough to reply back to your application. And also ChatGPT does a much better job than anything that I would ever come up with. Recruiters already know that everyone these days uses ChatGPT and you shouldn't feel any type of way about using it. In fact, this is the whole point of why ChatGPT was created in the first place, to take away those type of boring tasks that no one really wants to do. What I even love more about ChatGPT in this process is that, say you're currently working in a job where you don't have any direct experience, you can ask ChatGPT to tailor your current duties to that of a data analyst and you'll do it so seamlessly. It can even make a cleaning job look like a data analyst. If you want me to show you a simple process that I use when I'm making job applications with ChatGPT, again, let me know and I'll do a full video on that. Also, you can get some really beautiful CV and cover letter templates on Canva to use. I would personally avoid having a profile picture on the CV. Also, make sure you highlight all your relevant skills, include links to your projects, LinkedIn, and any practical experience that you may have. Also, don't wait to land an interview before you start preparing for it. I'll start preparing from it from the get-go. So while you're learning your technical skills and soft skills, also take some time to practice your interview skills as well. Research data analyst and behavioral interview questions and have some answers and examples planned out for each question. By doing this, when you get an interview, the answers will just flow off your tongue, and that will communicate to the interviewer that you're very confident and you know what you're talking about. Also, if you do get any interviews, try and write down the questions that you were asked after the interviews and keep going over them and practicing them. Furthermore, you also want to make sure your LinkedIn also looks really good and try and put your skills and achievements and projects on there as well. I can't emphasize the importance of LinkedIn enough. LinkedIn is where everything is at the moment. There's lots of videos on YouTube about creating a good LinkedIn profile. So watch a few of those and improve your LinkedIn profile. And also, one mistake I see a lot of aspiring data analysts make is that when they're job searching, they overlook their current experiences. This is a huge mistake, because this is actually one of the biggest advantages that you have over other candidates. Employers really like it when you already have domain knowledge in the industry that you're applying for. For example, say you have 5 years experience in the medical sector. When you're applying for a data analyst in the medical sector, you have a massive advantage because you understand that industry very well in comparison to someone who knows some code and doesn't have any experience in that industry. So when applying for data analyst jobs, try and apply for jobs in sectors where you have a lot of experience already. Using this strategy alone secured me 2 interviews during the earlier stages of my journey when I had no real data analyst work experience. Now, this last step is a bonus, but it's also my secret weapon. I actually got this idea when I decided to learn Spanish. You see, one of the best ways to learn anything in life, not just language or how to become a data analyst, is to immerse yourself in whatever you're learning. When I was learning how to speak Spanish, I picked up so much Spanish in just 3 months by simply consuming as much content in Spanish as possible. I learned the language much faster than anything that Duolingo would have ever taught me. I was able to have basic conversations in Spanish, whereas if I just stuck with Duolingo, after 3 months I would have been learning sentences like "the elephant drinks milk" in Spanish. In what world would I ever need to use that? So I used the same strategy when I decided to learn data analytics. I just consume as much content as possible around data, and after a while, I kid you not, I started to believe that I was a data analyst even though I hadn't even landed the job yet. And the thing is, aside all the learning and everything that I've mentioned earlier, another key part of this process is that you've got to sort of delude yourself a little bit to trick your mind that you're a data analyst already. The mind believes whatever you tell it to believe. And faith is a big part of this journey. You just got to see yourself as a data analyst even before you land the job. Another benefit of this is that you pick up so many random things along the way that you'd have never learned from a course that will help you in the recruitment process. So during my interview, I was asked a question that I honestly wasn't prepared for, and it was the random things that I acquired from immersing myself in data analytics that got me out of jail and ultimately helped me to land my current job now. If you follow this roadmap that I've given you, I don't doubt for 1 second that you land a job as a data analyst. And also, last but not least, pray. I personally believe that despite all my hard work in doing all this learning, it was God that perfectly aligned everything and helped me to land this job. Sometimes you need certain things to go your way to help you to land your first job. Your hard work alone is not enough. Alright, see you in the next one.